Welcome to the DPSS podcast. My name is Marvin Machon. And in today's episode, we are celebrating with the LA County Board of Supervisors as they proclaim June 2023 Refugee and Immigrant Heritage Awareness Month to honor the invaluable contributions of refugees and immigrants to the county. Nearly 10 million residents call LA County home. There are approximately 140 different cultures within LA County, and almost half of those residents speak a language other than English. According to the Refugee Processing Center, over the last 5.5 years, over 7,000 refugees from nearly 30 different countries arrived in California. Many of those refugees now call LA County their new home. Over 3 million immigrants call LA County home, and their cultural, economic, and social contributions are indisputable throughout the county. On June 20th, 2023, an event was held at the Gloria Molina Grand Park in downtown LA to celebrate World Refugee Day. Here are LA County Supervisor Hilda Solis and DPSS Director Dr. Jackie Contreras addressing the crowd.
We're so lucky to be here at the Gloria Molina Grand Park, and we're celebrating World Refugee Day. LA County is home, as you know, to so many immigrants, and it is a safe place, and we're committed to helping our communities thrive. People come here with the drive and ambition. They come here to make their dreams a reality. Immigrants, as you know and I know, are the backbone of Los Angeles County, and they are the motor that helps to power our economy. They help us to meet the rising labor needs that are so substantial here. They have been included in fields like STEM, essential services, food, and manufacturing.
Owing to the efforts of international refugee agencies throughout the world, the United States provides hope, opportunities, humanitarian aid, and essential resources to refugees and other survivors of oppression. DPSS has committed approximately $2.8 million of federal funds for the Refugee Employment Program to provide employment, training, and supportive services for approximately 3,000 refugees, asylees, certified trafficking victims, and parolee participants. Among a variety of social services, employment serves as a focal point to assist individuals on their path toward economic mobility and sustained well-being. With great admiration, we applaud our community partners for their invaluable commitment to assist refugees and their families on their unique life path that will greatly enrich the fabric of Los Angeles County and our country as a whole.
Joining us in the studio for this episode are Margarita Jimenez, a manager with the CalWORKs and Gain Division programs with the Department of Public Social Services, better known as DPSS, and Joy Mikhail, a senior program officer with CWS. First of all, Margarita, thank you for being with us today. Can you tell us your title, what program you work for, and how long have you been employed by LA County?
Yes, I'm a program and policy manager with the Los Angeles County Department of Public Social Services Refugee Employment Program, otherwise known as REP. I've been with the county for approximately 15 years now.
Wow, 15 years? That is a long time. Tell me something, Margarita. When you started your career with the county, did you picture yourself working with a program specifically designed to assist the refugee community, or is that something that just happened with time?
Actually, I did have it initially as a vision, working with the immigrant community. And here I am now. I'm proud to say that I am working with the REP and helping refugees and other immigrants.
Can you talk about some of the programs DPSS offers intended to assist the refugee community in LA County?
Some of the programs include Mikhail, CalFresh, Refugee Cash Assistance, otherwise known as RCA, and they're also eligible for CalWORKs, and the Refugee Employment Program, otherwise known as REP.
Please explain the difference between the Refugee Cash Assistance Program and the Refugee Employment Program. How can you tell them apart?
Yes, the Refugee Cash Assistance Program is a financial assistance program, such as CalWORKs. RCA is for single or married adults without children, and CalWORKs is for households that have children. And the Refugee Employment Program, REP, is a mandatory employment and training program for those that are on RCA and refugees that are also on CalWORKs.
Margarita, please correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand it, RCA is restricted to only 8 months, and the clock starts on the date that someone is admitted to the county as a refugee, the date their asylum is granted, or even the date that their certification comes through, indicating they are a victim of human trafficking. But what happens after the 8 months expire? Do they transition automatically into a different program?
Actually, the time limitation for refugee cash assistance is 12 months now. And once they exceed that 12-month period, refugees and other eligible immigrants may apply for general relief, general assistance, if needed. All the time while they're on RCA or general relief, they are required to participate in an employment and training program. And that's where Refugee Employment Program, REP, comes in.
How exactly does the REP program help the refugee community? Do they just help them find permanent employment? Do they help them go back to school, maybe take some English classes? Or in what other ways does the program help the refugee community become a little bit more self-efficient, if you will?
So Refugee Employment Program provides refugees and their families with case management and orientation, job readiness assistance. They also provide them with referrals to other community services that may be needed, such as legal immigration assistance and assessment. There's also the opportunity to participate in vocational training, remedial education. That way they can attain education in civics and U.S. government, and one day they can apply to adjust their legal residence in the United States or become U.S. citizens as well. REP also provides supportive services such as transportation, childcare, and assistance with school and training fees. The services related to schools may include to pay for certification, books, supplies, and even a laptop.
When assisting the refugee community, most people will agree that financial assistance alone isn't enough, so thank you for sharing some of the other services that are available at this time. Can you highlight how important these other services are?
All these services combined are important to be provided because the refugee and their family will be assisted to acclimate to American norms, such as how to apply for a job. It may not only be by word of mouth, but here in the United States, there's online applications. And then there's also other documents such as resumes and getting to know how to make those networks. For example, the rep will match them up with someone who understands their language and they're willing to provide them initial training on the job. And that's where, for example, the transitional subsidized employment comes in, or sometimes the refugee is willing to take on a community service type of position at a local employer.
So you talk about these other services that are part of the big picture, but my next question for you is DPSS able to provide these services alone, or do they work with outside partners? Can you tell us more about how these other services are provided?
Sure, the services are actually directly provided by a contracted services provider via the Refugee Employment and Acculturation Services Contract, that's REAS. And the service provider is JVS SoCal.
If you were to estimate the number of refugees DPSS assists, I don't know, let's say on a monthly basis, what would you say that number is?
Currently, monthly, the REP provides services to about 3,100 refugees.
Can you talk about the new population of refugees coming into LA County, I don't know, let's say in the last couple of years?
The last 2 years, the highest countries of origin for refugees locally are Ukraine, Afghanistan, Cuba, and a few other Central American countries.
When working with refugees, let's say from Eastern Europe, are the needs the same as refugees coming from Cuba, Central America, or do they have different needs?
Yes, the needs are different. For example, many of the arrivals that come from the Northeastern Europe already have a higher level of education, degrees that they've obtained in their native countries, and many times they need a recertification and English language attainment so that they're able to pass the licensing and recertification in California.
So we heard from Supervisor Solis and Dr. Contreras at the beginning of the episode. But why do you think it's important for us to celebrate diversity and the contributions immigrants and refugees continue to make to the county?
I think it's important because we live amongst refugees and immigrants. They're our neighbors, and they're also contributing residents to the cultural fabric of Los Angeles, the economy, and they make Los Angeles and the whole state unique.
Margarita, thank you for being with us today. Where can the public find more information about the programs we just talked about?
Yes, everyone's welcome to visit the LA DPSS website at dpss.lacounty.gov. And there they'll find links to refugee cash assistance and employment programs such as REP.
Joy, thank you for doing this interview with us today. Can you tell us what CWS stands for and maybe tell us a little bit about your involvement with CWS?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Joy Mikhail. I am the Senior Program Officer for sponsorship, working with a Ukrainian resettlement, providing technical assistance to RAs around the states. And what CWS stands for? It stands for Church World Service. And Church World Service has been here for 75 years. We just opened a new office here in Orange County. So CWS is a global organization. We have our offices all over the world, really, but also have it here nationally. And our mission is a faith-based organization transforming communities around the globe through just, sustainable responses to hunger, poverty, and displacement. And so CWS was founded in 1946, so it's over 75 years old, and it was during the World War II. And it's really a combination of 17 denominations coming together, believing that they can start an agency to do what no one alone can do. And so our programs are for refugee and welcome services and migrant and emergency services as well, which includes children's services.
Do you think the longevity of CWS is due to having the ability to merge and click with different cultures, different backgrounds, and different practices? Or to what do you attribute the longevity of the organization after 75 years?
Yeah, definitely. I think the fact that there are different denominations coming together, and also CWS really stands for inclusion and diversity. And so when we are doing our work, we are focusing on, integration of all people, not just certain kind of groups. So having the fact that people from different denominations, different thoughts, different thinking came together to do that really contributes to the beliefs and the system that we have.
I know CWS is a global organization, but for my next question, I would like for you to focus more on the LA and Orange County refugee communities. Can you describe some of the services CWS provides for refugees when they first arrive in the U.S.?
Yeah, definitely. For the Orange County office that we have here, we provide multiple services. We're working with 4 programs, 4 different grants that we're working with. We have the CDSS, which stands for California Department of Social Services. And through this program, we are serving Ukrainians. Right now, we have the grant for 450 Ukrainians here in the States. And then we have another program through UMCOR, which is actually a private grant that we have. And it's also for serving Ukrainians with legal support services. So they come to us for legal and immigration services. And then we have another program through the ORR, and that's for Ukrainians and for Afghans. And so we are serving really unlimited number of Ukrainian refugees and Afghan refugees here in the community.
When it comes to Ukrainian and Afghan refugees, would you say they have different needs than, let's say, refugees coming from Cuba, Central America, or even Africa? Or does CWS provide the same type of services across the board?
In terms of the services, for example, some of the Ukrainians and the Afghans, when they come here as parolees or U4U program or, special visas. And so it just depends on what they're eligible for and the benefits that they can get and helping them through that. So definitely where they're coming from plays a role in what they qualify for, the program that they enter the state with, their status. And we try to help them to really get the most benefits that they can get here, but also, work with them in a self-sufficient life where they can actually stand on their feet.
Please explain to us how LA County is connected or associated with CWS. Given the fact that your SoCal headquarters are located in Orange County, is LA County doing like a warm handoff or vice versa? Or can you tell us exactly how CWS and LA County are working together?
So actually, we are working in Orange County, but we are covering Orange County and LA County. So we're working with refugees in all over our counties. So it has been very helpful just to be able to refer refugees, to have the streamlining of services.
Now let's talk about some possible misconceptions some people may have when it comes to refugees.
I always encourage people, once you get to know them, you will find that building relationship with them is just like building relationship with anyone else. Like you're going to find commonality in food and, certain music and culture. And so I think that's one fear that I feel like some people might have in terms of like being involved. The other thing is some people might think that refugees come here because they want to find a better place to live or a better life. And so I feel like it's important for the community to know what is a refugee, to know that a refugee is someone who is being forced to flee their country because of persecution, because they are escaping war or violence, so they have no other choice. And also the fact that they lose loved ones, that they leave things behind, and they have to be in refugee camps for years or to be in a resettlement or neighboring country, not knowing what's the next life is going to be for them. And so having that in mind, I feel like that just brings people to understand that when refugees come here, they're not here just because I want a better life in the States,
not on vacation,
but really to live, to have a life.
What do you say to someone who thinks refugees are not really fleeing their country, but instead are looking for their version of the American dream?
Well, let's just start with who is a refugee. So a refugee is someone who flees their country because they are escaping war or violence or because of persecution. And so actually many of the people that we resettled here in California and all over the States, really, when I was working with refugees, have been people who have high degree education. Like we had a lot of doctors, we had a lot of professional people. And I feel like one of the misconceptions too is people think if they don't speak English, then they're not coming from, educational background. And so, but really it's been very great just to see the resilience and just to see them with how hard it is. Can you believe you would spend years in your country, studying medicine because you wanted to be a doctor. You come here and we say, well, sorry, you can't really practice that. So you end up working in a hotel, cleaning rooms, and then just to see them taking that and being like, you know what, I'm going to start from the beginning because this is a different place for me. So definitely the fact that there's this assumption that they're coming here for the dream, the American dream, it's a wrong assumption because they're coming here starting from zero where they were already building their lives overseas.
We know some refugees have already obtained a professional degree in their native land, but would you say refugees also possess a degree of resiliency that you may not find outside of the refugee community?
I think there is a lot for us to learn from refugees. One thing that I do tell the community sponsors when they are working with refugees, don't see it as, you are there to help them only. Be there with the mentality of these are people with dignity and they have as much to offer to us as we can offer to them. The things that they have been through, the trauma that they experienced, and for them to come out of that and to be focusing on their family, to be focusing on rebuilding their lives again. There is a lot to learn from this.
A lot of people have this misconception that when you go somewhere, yes, you are starting from the bottom and trying to rebuild your life again, but what they fail to realize is that you already have a lot of life skills. It's not like you're a 2-year-old again that you're learning how to walk.
Yes.
As LA County residents, if we live next to a refugee family or we're neighbors with them, our kids go to the same school with their kids, what do you think the best approach is when trying to build a relationship with them? Do you even address the fact that they're refugees or just open your doors and be like, hey, you're my neighbor, so I'm going to treat you as an equal? What would you tell the average LA County resident that may have never been around refugees before?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would definitely say when we are looking at refugees, I think one of the things is just seeing them for who they are. They are fathers, mothers, children. They are the neighbors next to us. So I feel like the way that we would treat our neighbors if they were just not refugees, it should be the same way that we would treat refugees. Now, there are some cultural things that we need to learn. And so I feel like it's very important when we are entering into a relationship that we're coming from the side of, I want to learn from you. Like, tell me more about your culture. How do you do this? Rather than coming with the idea of like, well, I call it building bridges rather than seeing barriers. So what are the bridges? What are the things that we have in common? And let's start from there, because they are just like any one of us. So it doesn't mean because they had to leave their country that, now things are different or like they're not the same. No, they are people with dignity. And so we need to respect that.
I know helping people is at the core of your career. I can see it in you. I know it's part of your DNA. With that said, there are always cases that stay with you for the rest of your life. I know some of them are good, some of them are bad. Can you share with us a quick story that has stayed with you for years?
I would say definitely from my time when I was serving in the Middle East. I was working with UNHCR and other organizations, and there was this Syrian woman. I would never forget it. And she had a 1-year-old, and on her way out from Syria with her family and her husband was kidnapped. And so she ended up staying in Lebanon alone with her daughter. And you can imagine how challenging that is, like leaving everything behind. She had nothing, like not even a thing to sleep on, not a mattress, nothing. But then to see her putting her daughter first and to see her going out there, trying to find work, trying to start again, and to see a woman that's in pain and agony from what happened to her husband and to her whole family, to see her just standing on her feet again. That's just, to me, it's always been, if she could do it, I could do anything. Like if she could go through this and to start again and to stand on her feet and to have a self-sufficient life, anyone can do that.
Wow, that's empowering.
Yes, very empowering.
If someone wanted to donate to CWS besides making a financial contribution, what else can people donate? Are there particular items CWS is open to receiving? Can people donate other goodies, or even better, can people volunteer and donate their time? What are some of the ways people can get involved with CWS?
Donating time is one of the big things. We always are looking for people who can donate their time. So definitely volunteer with us to get the work done. And so we're looking for the community to come alongside us. We're looking for other organizations to come alongside us because it's a collaborative work to make this happen and to make it happen right. And also we're looking for items for donations. So if you go to our website, you're going to find ways that you can donate to the organization. We have an Amazon list for the Orange County office, so people can go in there and they can just pick the items that they want to donate and they can send it to the office, and the office will then send it to the family. And also we have another program. It's called the HSPRS, which stands for Home Study and Post-Release Service for Unaccompanied Minors. And so we're always looking for donations as well for those kids. And we were blessed to have a partnership with some of the agencies here. Goodwill partnered with us, and now we're getting some donations from Goodwill from the families. But we're always looking for more because there is so many people.
Can you tell me again where people can find your organization and where they can donate?
So you can find us on our website, cwsorangecounty.org. This is for our office here. If you are interested in CWS in general, you can just write Church World Service and it's going to come up. And also just have in mind that all of the donations that are being given to CWS, since we are a nonprofit and it's for refugees, is going to be tax deductible, and it 100% goes to the refugee families. And some ways that we have people to volunteer with us would be English conversation partners. It would be helping refugees with transportation, even collecting some donations, being out there for the community and working with the case managers to educate the community about working with refugees, helping with translation. We're always looking for interpreters. We're helping also with resumes, if you can help them find a job. Or for landlords, we're always looking for landlords to help refugees when they want to have a permanent housing solutions.
And Joey, correct me again, but you don't have to live in Orange County in order for you to get involved with CWS. Is that correct?
I want to just take the time to thank you all. We are blessed to have this partnership with LA County. Even though we are located in Orange County, we do serve refugees all over Southern California, including LA County. And it's been great just to see the collaboration and to see us really standing together in solidarity to serve the community.
Joy, thank you again for taking the time to be with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
If you would like more information on some of the DPSS programs mentioned in today's episode, go to dpss.lacounty.gov, where you will find links to refugee cash assistance and employment programs. And if you would like more information on CWS, you can visit them at cwsorangecounty.org. Thank you for listening.